Today is going to be a battle between the 36mm Explorer and the 39mm Explorer. Let's get into it. Welcome to Buck and Jack, I'm Adrian, and the place is looking quite sparse, and I usually drink coffee and talk with you guys about watches, but I've packed the coffee machine away. I'm leaving London and I'm moving to Scotland. The house is packed, pretty much packed. I've kind of left this part to last because there's so much crap. Boxes everywhere, it's not fun. But anyway, Bob's Watches have been really kind and lent me an Explorer. This is the latest version of the Explorer, the 214270. And this is the Mark II version. This version is mine, and this is the 14270 from 1998. If you've been watching the channel, you'll know that I'm obsessed with this watch. And I'm struggling to find a watch that is better than it. So Bob's Watches got in contact, and I now have a relationship with them, and they're willing to lend me watches, which is really awesome of them. If you're not familiar with Bob's Watches, go check out their website. They're a watch dealer in America, and they're very, very well trusted, and I use them a lot for research around the prices in the US market. Go check them out. They've been kind enough to lend me this watch, and hopefully I'll be able to borrow lots of watches from them. So it could be quite fun. Before we compare these two awesome watches, let me quickly tell you about my Nato straps. Over at barkandjack.shop, I sell premium Nato straps. We have them in multiple sizes and two nylons. We've got seatbelt nylon and tubular nylon. Seatbelt nylon is super soft. It has a really luxurious feel to it. And then the tubular nylon is just a more rugged kind of strap. It's just got more structure to the material. Jump over to barkandjack.shop and check them out. The Explorer was launched as a mountaineer's watch, so it can operate in harsh environments and even temperatures down so far as minus 50 degrees C. But in the real world, it's a simple no-thrill sports watch. It doesn't even have basic features like the rotating bezel or a date complication. And style-wise, it is a little lost. It's so plain and simple that it could be a dress watch, but then it has the 369 numerals, which are clearly been designed to be super legible like a field watch, and it also has the professional Rolex Mercedes hands. So it certainly is a tool watch, just a subtle under the radar tool watch. So let's say you want an Explorer, and the next question will be a 36mm or 39mm version. And if we focus on the modern Explorers, there are actually two 36mm and two 39mm variants. To start off, we have the 14270, which was launched in 1989, has a 36mm case, a caliber 3000 movement, and hollow end links. In 2001, Rolex launched a double 14270, which is also 36mm. It has the same dial layout as the previous one, but now it has superluminova and is powered by the caliber 3130. It also has solid end links. Now in 2010, Rolex launched the 214270. Now we see it as the Mark I. This is the first 39mm case. It has solid white gold numerals, so there isn't a gap in the middle. There's no loom, there's no paint in the middle of those numerals. It has short Rolex hands. It has the same handset that was used on the double 14270, and it is now powered by the 3132 movement. In 2016, Rolex updated the 214270, which we now call the Mark II. Still the same case, a 39mm case, but it now has hollow white gold numerals, which have been filled with superluminova. We also have a maxi handset, so the hands are longer and fatter than the Mark I version. The particular versions that I have with me are my personal 14270 Explorer from 1998 and Bob's version, which is a 21470 Mark II, which I think is from 2017. For a long time, I thought the Explorer was a boring watch, and I didn't understand why people would want one. I just didn't get it. Then I bought one to review and then sell on, and 18 months later I still have it and I love it. It's my favorite watch within my collection, and I'll go so far as saying I actually think it's unbeatable. And no doubt you will have a watch in your collection that you think beats it. It's all about opinions, but I kind of doubt it. I always knew the 36mm version of the Explorer was the nicer version in my opinion, and I got lucky with mine because I just ended up getting the 14270. I do like the subtle patina that the hour markers get, and as a point The numerals have white paint in the middle, not Loom. Some people dislike the way that the hour markers patina and the numerals don't, and so you then get a discoloration or a mismatch in whiteness. You have a creamy white and then a bright white, a brilliant white in the numerals. Some people dislike it. I actually quite like it. It kind of gives it an air of vintageness about it. It would be easy for me to say I prefer the 36mm version because it reminds me of and is more true to the vintage versions of the Explorer, the original Explorers. But I think the reality is that just 36mm just simply suits me better. I do sometimes wish that I had the better movement and the solid end links that come with the 114-270. But then the 114-270 has superluminova and therefore doesn't patina, and so you're always going to have that pristine dial. And I do like the vintage side of subtle patina, not too heavy patina. And therefore I do feel like I've built such a bond with this watch, but I do feel like those little bits of character and the stories that have come to be connected to this watch, they kind of make up for the flaws that it has with the movement and the hollow end links. People often say that the Mark 1 short-handed version of the 214-270 is or will be a collector's item and therefore go up in value because of its relatively short production span of about 6 years. But if I'm honest, I don't really buy into this. I certainly wouldn't pay a premium for the shorthands and those fat plain numerals. I kind of think it's one of those things that us watch people do, and particularly Rolex watch people do, is to try and find tiny little things that we can try and make us feel that our watch, our mass-produced watch, is actually special and individual. Sometimes it's true, sometimes there's real points, but in this instance I kind of think Rolex just fluffed that watch up. In a previous video I actually went so far as calling the Mark 1 214-270 the pig of the Rolex family, and that is quite harsh and it is a bit over dramatic. It's not a pig, but it's, in my eyes, it's certainly the worst of the bunch. For me, the 214-270 Mark II kicks ass. I still don't like the fact it's a 39mm case. It just doesn't work for me, and I feel like the 39mm case looks a bit odd on a 20mm bracelet. But if I ignore the case size and just look at it for what it is, from all the other aspects, it's an incredible Explorer. It is the best Explorer yet. The case, of course, is solid. It still has the same hot curves as all the other Explorers. We now have the bigger, longer, fatter maxi hands, which, although don't feel as refined as the thinner hands, they do have a beefy look about them, and therefore that adds to the whole tool watch thing about it all. One thing that I absolutely love about this version that kind of trumps all the other versions is the Loom filled numbers. I think, one, it looks brilliant, but two, it also has a function to it. It feels like Rolex cut a few corners with the 36mm versions by not using Loom within the numbers. This watch is supposed to be a tool watch. It's supposed to have a purpose of telling the time, and you're supposed to be able to tell the time easily. And at night time, if you're having to figure out, right, the triangle's up here, okay, the numerals around here, you can't see the numerals in pitch black. It's just not possible. With the new version, you can. It looks awesome and it has a great functionality. So to kind of sum it up and look back at our options, if you want an Explorer with the vintage vibes and everything, and you can't go down and get a 1016 because they're crazy expensive now, then go with a 14270 with a tritium dial. Just make sure it does have a tritium dial. If you like the solid feel of the 39mm Explorer but you prefer the look of the 36, then go for the 114-270 because it has the heavier bracelet, the better movement inside as well. And preferably go for the one with the Rolex engraving around a rehort because they were only produced for about 3 years, so there should be a good opportunity there, but it also looks awesome. If you like the 39mm version, go for the Mark II, the 214-270 Mark II. I would just skip out to the Mark I. For me, this is all my personal opinion, but there's nothing in the Mark I that connects with me. I think it was a fluff of a watch. The 214-270 Mark II is a brilliant watch, and it still carries a whole subtle under the radar vibe about it, although it is slightly larger than the 36. As a bit of a curveball, if you like the 36mm Explorer, like the feel of the solid 39mm Explorer, don't like the idea of buying a pre-owned watch, then check out the Oyster Perpetual Reference 116,000 with the 369 blue dial. This goes for £4,100. It is pretty much a 114-270 with a newer case dial and bracelet. I'm a massive fan of this little guy. It's powered by the caliber 3130, so it's the same movement as the 114270, and that's the same movement that's been in the Submariner for donkey's years. So this movement is rock solid. One caveat to all of this is the fact that the Oyster Perpetual range, it's not within the professional family of Rolex. So although it's stainless steel and it has quite a sporty look, it's not caught up in this whole stainless steel sports Rolex hype. So don't expect this to hold value particularly well, and certainly don't expect this to go up in value. And of course, the battle between 36mm and 39mm Explorers, it was a done deal from the start. The 36mm Explorer was always going to win. It's cooler, it's closer to the original, and it's more iconic. Despite the fact of it being small, it still has a huge amount of wrist presence. This, honestly, really very cool. Guys, thanks so much for watching and listening. Do check out my website, barkandjack.com. There'll be high-res images on there of these guys. I have a new podcast as well. Just search Bark and Jack Podcast in whatever podcast app you use. Check me out on Instagram at barkandjack, and check out our Nato straps, barkandjack.shop. I'll see you guys next time. Take care.